Jeff, you good running this, the audit finance meeting?
Sure, as long as you're okay with my voice and I cannot, be on camera. So,
Works for us.
okay, I figured. So, so to open up the Audit and Finance Committee, it kind of a little unorthodox because I thought I wouldn't be here, so I shot out some questions yesterday that I copied the whole board on, and they were questions that I had generally about the financial statements or items that were going to be impacting the financial statement shortly. So if the Jody, if you just want to touch on those items, and I do have one other or two other balance sheet items I just wanted to bring up or talk about. So the questions were, just to recap, when the funding would be coming from the county appropriation, when we thought the $600,000 non-interest loan would come, and
status of the
yes, the Oneonta Business Park.
Okay, so with respect to your first question, we're expecting to get the $225,000 check by tomorrow, I think. That's what the...
You said 14th, yeah.
Yeah, that's what the county administrator's assistant said, so.
Is that a wire transfer or a check?
I think it'll be the check, so we might get it tomorrow or maybe early next week.
So just to be clear, from a protocol perspective, that's been approved. It's gone through all the appropriate bodies, and we're expecting that's all we're waiting on, right?
That's correct.
Correct.
Okay.
By the county board on February 5th. On February 8th, the county attorney drafted the agreements. We signed them on the 10th. Megan sent an invoice on the 10th, and we were told that it should have it by the end of this week. With respect to the county's zero interest loan for $600,000, the county was supposed to approve that at their February 5th meeting. On February 3rd, I received a phone call from Ed Frazier and Steve Wilson. They were on the phone together, who asked if we could put it off a month, if the 225 would carry us for the coming month. And their concern was that we may not be able to repay it within a year unless we get the EDA funds. And so they were trying to explore whether it could possibly be extended for another year or possibly even a forgivable loan. They had me go on February 11th to the IGA meeting. The IGA meeting did not have a quorum, and therefore couldn't take any action or actually even any discussion on it. They're trying to schedule a meeting now for this coming Tuesday. One of the members is in Florida, and one of the other members, her father is very ill, and that's why they didn't have a quorum. I was told unofficially that there was some people on the board that were supporting a forgivable loan. There were also some people I talked to who thought it would be a bad precedent to do because other people come and ask for forgivable loans as well.
What's interesting is like we're not asking for it to get
Yeah,
a loan,
no.
so I'm curious why that would be a holdup. Again, unless you feel like we need to ask for that, but like I just don't even put it on the table if it's not something we really even are asking for, need, or want.
Particularly if they're willing to extend, maybe
Extend, yeah, just kind of a payment term, right?
The forgivable loan idea came up in the budget process when Jody first presented the board's request for additional funding. So we in the budget meeting, after Jody left, this goes back to last year, we talked about, maybe we could give, and this was separate from this previous discussion of the interest-free loan. There's this discussion about providing additional funding. Maybe it could be a loan, maybe it could be a forgivable loan. So I think some of that is just getting blurred with this interest-free loan. So and my guess is, is that if they're gonna put the contract together, if, you know, if they wanted to contemplate it being forgivable, it'd be easier to put it in the contract now when we, you know, when we put it all together. But I would agree. I think waiting for us to come to a consensus is not in the best interest of the IDA. The IDA could, you know, the IDA could always go back and ask for forgiveness, and the county can obviously amend that interest-free loan. So why wait, you know?
Yeah, especially if there's
The-
not
the-
total, you know, unanimous agreement at
There's,
county level, right?
yeah,
why-
I don't, and that's the IGA, you know, that Jody went to IGA. That's 5 people, you know, so there's 9 more.
Yeah.
You know, so it, you know, I personally have no idea. I seriously doubt if there's not consensus IGA, that's not good, you know.
So the root of that suggestion for a forgivable loan was in the event that the grant does not fund, correct?
Right, I think Steve Wilson still has, he came from the federal government. I think he worked at the US Department of Commerce at one time. And he still has connections at people at the Office of Management Budget. And he has concerns that they're still going to try to freeze all grants and loans made by the previous administration.
Well, I don't understand why we're chasing rabbits here. You know, we ask for an interest-free loan, they extended a year, we get it done. If the county wants to gift IDA 600,000, that's a different conversation. I gladly take them. I think they should, because we're a good investment. But to tie it all up in an interest-free loan, you know, you're opening the door, I agree, for other people to say, well, what about me, what about me? I don't, I think it's silly for, to slow it down also, let's get
Correct,
done.
yeah.
We
Yeah,
asked for this, please get this approved, quit chasing rabbits around.
And
the
it
yard.
didn't come from us, so.
Right.
yeah. I think my recommendation, Jody, would just be to simply respond back, like, we're not looking for this to be forgivable. If there's any way we could, again, I don't think there's like a dire urgency.
And the
with
federal
funds
government's not gonna be
coming in
shut
now,
down for 2 years, okay?
but- Yeah,
So with respect to the last question, which had to do with when do we expect the counties, any update on the reimbursement? I attached 2 emails that I received. One was to Linda Cruz Cornwall. She's the regional director, because I wasn't getting any response from Andy Eade, our project engineer. Her response to me was, well, I said, I was wondering if you could let us know whether EDA have had their funds temporarily frozen. We have requested reimbursement requests totaling $733,000, haven't received any. We are trying to figure out how to continue with construction. The question of when or if we are going to be reimbursed is paramount. Thanks sincerely, Jody. Her response was, EDA has been working hard to ensure compliance with all recent executive orders. If your disbursement request is in and processed, there is nothing further you need to do. And I guess in response to when would we receive our monies? Soon, we hope, but no date certain.
She has no idea.
Yeah, nobody does.
And then the second email, I finally did get a response from Andy Eade. Jody, I apologize, this has gone back and forth so many times. The disbursement is waiting for its final signature, and if this is signed, they will send it straight to accounting for me. I am out next week, but I have the disbursement on their radar, so when it gets signed next week, it will be processed immediately. So it's a lot of if and when.
Yeah, well, it's life, okay? I live in that world, so.
We got emails from 2 people that have absolutely no control over,
Right, yeah.
over this money. I'm not sure a federal judge has control over it, but think about this. We're looking for 733,000. You got people that are looking for 10 million for bridge projects that are on hold. So this is,
It's a minor problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not even make the radar, and it'll work out. Right. Nobody's gonna die.
So unfortunately, I can't go really any higher than Linda, who's the regional.
Yeah, well, once again, I think, Jody, you've done your due diligence. Everybody knows we're all waiting to find out which end is up, so, right. Work on stuff we can influence.
So with respect to the final question you had, well, it wasn't really a question, he said, I'm sure we'll touch on the status of the pending industrial park sale, archaeological study, et cetera.
We got an email when that was done, right? What in the notes for today? The archaeological thing was,
Been signed off.
signed off on?
It was signed off on, but they said we want a different, I think it's 10 meters apart where they dig the holes. So what the,
Do they think Native Americans lived there once? I mean, I knew that in the sixth grade, probably the third grade. So, all right.
so anyway, the,
So I guess, I mean, in here, you're saying in the projects, right, like that the phase 3 has been signed off, the remediation report.
right, they have been, but what the archaeologist did was he incorporated their comments into his report and resent it to them to say, see, we're complying with you. They have till tomorrow to respond to that. February 14th is their
Okay, so
deadline.
if we get through tomorrow, we're good to go?
Yeah,
Okay.
and I'm sure they will be, because they were minor issues. Regarding,
So is that the only thing holding up Pony Farm?
no, there's still a lot
The
line.
lot line?
Is that a projects conversation or a finance committee?
We could do it in projects if Jeff can stay around for that one.
Just a question.
Jeff Ward, system resources crashed, cannot connect.
Yeah, he sent
He
us
sent
a
a
message in the chat that he was having losses, so even if you explained it now. he's-
Okay, so we'll do this in projects.
And he had questions about the balance sheet. Does anyone else have questions about the balance sheet or the budget?
I just wanted to know on the budget, it looks like under professional service contracts, I'm not sure if this is accurate or if there's a copy paste error. We have 8205 in the year to date, but nothing in January, and that 8205 is the same amount for 24 year end. So I don't know if it just got carried over.
Where are we? I'm sorry.
On the last page of the budget for the archaeological study,
Oh, yeah, yes,
so the total.
That's from last year, yeah.
That's what I
Yeah.
thought, so that probably, that's zero, correct, which
yes, that's zero.
changes slightly the expenses.
Yes,
Okay.
so yeah, that number's. I'll adjust that. And it is a carryover.
Yeah, that's
Taking
right.
budget from December and making it a new budget.
I'm familiar with copy paste
Yes.
issues.
In Excel.
Okay, the other thing that we probably should discuss is we are in the middle of the audit. There is a big question with the auditors, whether we have to do a federal audit. All of the federal audit kicks in when you reach over $750,000 in expenditures of federal monies. For the EDA portion and ARP portions, they are below 750. However, Megan is running the micro enterprise program. And unlike IOXIS or custom electronics, for some reason, the county is requiring the micro enterprise will be passed through to our agency. So
Was the subrecipient, so it's counted against us.
So we're not administering it, we're also
We are.
the recipient of the money
Yes.
to distribute.
right, and it's really because you can write a subrecipient agreement two ways. One is the way we did with IOXIS, we are a subrecipient to administer the program, but the money actually is doled out by the town. Where in this subrecipient agreement, they have the IDA receiving the money and then dispersing it.
For micro enterprise.
For my brother, yeah.
So that would put us over the 750. However, there's still a question that the auditors are having because right now they don't know if we're getting any EDA federal money.
So,
Well, they don't, know we're gonna get it. Let's wait till we get it, okay?
so it would be a separate day, so he's already done our audit. If he's going back to get guidance, if we need to do it or not. But it's when you pay the bill, not when you get the money, so it's in 24, and so he thinks we're gonna have to do it.
This is from Manzanero.
Yes,
So if in fact we do a federal audit, I think the price is going to go up by 35.
3,500.
I'm just gonna ask what's it cost.
Yeah, 35.
Pain in the
We
butt.
have to, we have to.
Yeah.
Right, that's what it is.
And definitely if EDA starts reimbursing us, we'll have to do a federal audit
In
next.
25.
And the good news is, those people are not gonna have jobs, so they'll never have it.
Excellent, excellent, I like it. And we'll have people available for jobs that are open, it's all works. Creating workforce.
I keep biting my tongue. We're in a public meeting. All right, so just not anymore, any other questions on the financials? Anyone has? So just with that correction, that would essentially take us to a net loss, same being year to date as January of 14,984.
Correct. I'll resend that to you guys.
Any new or unfinished business? Adjourn that meeting. Town, you're up.
Okay, projects meeting. My comments are, Jody, any change in the update in that project trackers? Make sure the pace.
Do you not have updated project records with you? They weren't included in the packet.
Really, in Richfield Springs, the only thing that is rather new is that the Public Service Commission is expecting to vote on in March now for approving our natural gas. And then the second thing is that Andela wants us to start the subdivision process on the properties, so we can look at purchasing. And
Is there anything we need to do other than start it? I mean, vote on the board or anything else? Move forward with subdivision?
I'm gonna have to hire a surveyor to do a lease and balance description and a revised survey for the two lots we're putting out. It's likely I'm gonna use a company from Buffalo that Anjo Construction uses because they're a minority owned business. And we have to comply with that. Because I don't think we're gonna make our quota, even though we've done a lot.
That's
of
fine.
outreach.
My guess is it's not gonna matter anymore.
No.
Just throwing that out there.
Hey,
It's a
I'm
lot
being
big because-
optimistic.
No, that regulation's not gonna matter anymore.
So those are really, I think, the issues,
Your recommendation is to move forward on the subdivision.
I think so, because we're somewhat committed to finishing up construction with Angel Construction on the water, sewer, and roadway improvements. We could always postpone putting in natural gas, and Andela could still use propane, more than likely.
Well, time out. Why would we, I mean, we waited forever to get natural gas to it. Even if she backed out, we still need natural gas to the site, right? You're talking because we don't have the money?
That's another $400,000 estimate.
So we do expect to close on Pony Farm, which will release some money, right?
Yes,
So we won't be quite as destitute as we currently are.
and we still have $800,000 in CDs.
All right, so let's don't jump off a bridge, get back to the ledge. It's gonna be okay. We have some flexibility. We can make this work. I don't want to slow down. Okay?
Yeah, I mean, that's really the big
Keep moving
question,
forward.
right,
Keep
is-
moving forward.
Are we willing, ultimately, are we willing to invest what would be our 400,000 into doing that if we weren't to get in?
We committed to.
Yeah, I mean,
gas
to me-
line. That's part of the project. yeah.
Correct, yeah, I mean, the bottom line is do you pause the entire project, right, finish out existing contracts, or do you continue to move with the uncertainty that exists, or do you move ahead? And I think it's gonna all work itself out,
Rallying
so.
cry is KMF, not cool mothers. Keep moving forward.
Not to mention the fact that doing the subdivision and selling a piece of property to Mandela Products is exactly what we wanted to do.
Yeah, once again, let's,
So that should not be a long process to do that subdivision, I don't think.
So the only other thing that I had as updates was the county law, welcome before the, March 5th.
So just, I just wanna back a little bit on the approval for the gas line not taking place till March, when work may be able to resume. Is there any way to move that up from an approval standpoint so that it's ready to go when the weather does turn? Do you know what I'm saying?
What's the timeline on if that approval comes in March 5th? When
Can we-
there's
can we
actually,
start digging March 6th?
The PSC and IC both understand that our contractors have resumed work in March, and that's why they're pushing to get it done in March so that they can incorporate that into his contract. Just to do the work.
Get it done in February.
It's
Okay.
difficult to push the PSC.
Oh, I get that, but it's kind of like.
the other issue is that we have allegedly a protracted winter and late spring coming, so they
Yes.
may not be able to break ground much in March, but let's get the approval, so as soon as they get.
Let's not us be holding it back.
It's not a
Yeah.
PSC, right?
Yeah, and I know that, but as soon as that gets done, once we get approval, I mean, can it go the next day, the next week, or is there another surprise, oh, we have to check this first? We seem to have a lot of those in your world.
Well, there are always surprises, and I didn't want to bother everybody with all the surprises because I'm not as concerned. But right now, the governor had signed a new law that took effect January 1st that says any potential energy has to go through another review of another board to see if gas is less pollutant to the environment than natural gas versus electric. I'm not worried about it because it's been reviewed so many times by the PSC. Then.
Well, no, but if it takes time for another review, I mean, once again, 2 years ago, we said, okay, by the end of this year, then, you know, well,
This is one.
could we apologize for having gone ahead?
This is one thing I agree with the current federal administration. There is too much bureaucracy.
Really?
Last week, I was contacted by another office of the Public Service Commission in New York City, asking if we had gotten air permits for the gas line. And I said, that's up to Andela to get the permits. She already has permits in her existing location. She's got to transfer them from one to another. But where did you people come from?
Kind of just that private.
One last quick question regarding the installation of the gas line. Is Angio going to be able to do that, or is that going to be a contract through NICE?
A combination of both.
Okay. They're gonna allow
They're gonna lay
Angio
it.
to put those in?
They're gonna dig the trenches and NICE is gonna have a contractor. to
Okay.
pipe.
They'll be there to inspect basically the work, because that's what they did to me when I moved one.
Okay, thank you.
On the rail yards. Megan and I met with an individual who is supposedly interested in purchasing the rail yards.
Well, they're looking at sites,
We're looking at sites.
so not just ours.
What's not on my list, because it happened yesterday, was I got a call from the Stewart Stand and Gravel that's still looking for a site, and they may be interested. They have another client that's also looking at a site, and we're gonna speak next week in the office about potentially having them move down on a couple acre site in the rail yards.
Is this that with the transit point, they put it in a rail car and ship it someplace?
So they need a rail siding, obviously.
My big question is, are they gonna be able to get a rail siding?
Well, that's not the only question, is compatibility with the neighbors and the people who live here. You have a lot of dust and dirt, all that stuff.
We already have a pretty big Cobleskill stone.
Yeah, I know, they're down there.
You know
that. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I'm not for trouble, but I'm looking for us walking and trying to do something, and all of a sudden, the hue and cry from the citizens say, wait a minute. You know, we don't want that. I don't know, seems like, test somebody's temperature.
What kind of operation is?
I don't know. I haven't met.
You said you had a meeting with the railroad. Did that have anything to do with the possibility of rail sidings or?
That's one of the things we're gonna discuss, because I did reach out and she did get back to me.
Amanda Barber?
She's now in charge of the New York State's portion of Norfolk Southern. The previous gentleman retired. She's gonna ask the same question, what do they need a public building, do they need siding that goes in, so we don't know that.
Well, at least the sewer and sand gravel already here, so our chance to get something built with someone who's already committed to community. The new owner's got some pretty money behind it.
That was the question that went back to, I don't know when that meeting was it 2 years ago with Norfolk Southern? They talked about some of these rail sidings, they actually bring the cars inside a building to load them. So that's a space issue, which could determine, what lot would be appropriate, right? Okay, thanks.
And then hopefully by next month, I'll have specs out. Proposals out to various contractors and excavation companies to clear another 5 acres of property on the site.
Which end are you looking at, the Trevisan end or the loose end?
I'm still looking at the section closest to our existing lot that we cleared. And not the furthest one away from Trevorson.
Okay.
That's gonna be the more difficult area to clear.
So you want to do the toughest one first?
Yeah. That's how you do it.
That's why you eat your vegetables, worst one first, least one.
Correct.
You're coming up with all the ball over there, aren't you?
I have a lot more.
So, I'm not sure I follow that, so
Well, the vegetables that are warm up.
not really, the next lot down allegedly,
This is where the roundhouse is.
that's the one you wanna focus on.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that where the squatters, homeless people?
One of them, yeah.
Yeah.
What's that with that?
It is heavily loaded with concrete, which
Yeah.
is,
They call it a skate
Makes
park.
good fill.
yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna upset some skateboarders.
All right.
Go to Niwa.
Yeah.
That's it,
Hidden skate
that,
park. I didn't know that until we started there, yeah.
the only other updates is Ioxis, actually the state closed out the project. I had to put down what annual report, they put final on it. We received all our monies. They created 31 jobs and retained, 20.
So we've received all the reimbursements for that?
Yeah. So we're pleased with that one as well. I give their financial person, Amy Bobo, a lot of credit, because she was the one who made sure the jobs were being created before they did any requests for drawings. What we do because the town required it, we focus on that they have to have, on every bill that they send us, they have to have at least $15,000 per job being created, so they have to show that those jobs are being created, or retained, and then we will only reimburse them 40% of the total bill. That way it will keep within the DHCR's guidelines of 40% of the total project cost and $15,000 per job. And Amy really did a good job at making sure that they had to,
So there's how many people working down there, 60, 70?
probably about 70.
I'm gonna go count cars after.
We'll find out when we send out our,
No, just how many actually are the real jobs, do people really come to work?
Yeah.
Or any really clever?
so the, only on the business part that was asked about, we did received it yesterday. An agreement between the IDA and Mike Mano explaining, one of the concerns that I had on it was that they said, well, we're gonna cover the cost for the updated survey, we'll do the subdivision, we'll do this. And I said, we'll do a 40-year abstract on it. I said, what if we do all that and he still doesn't sign?
Who doesn't sign?
Mike Mano.
Okay.
So
We take land back.
their attorney agreed with us that we have an agreement saying this is what we're gonna do. And if we do all that stuff, Mike Mano's gonna sign it off.
Their attorney, who's they?
South Bennington.
I mean, has anybody talked to Mike Mano, got agreement in principle before we did all this?
We've talked to him a couple of times, emailed him a couple of times. He basically says he's referring everything to his attorney.
Oh, so now we're talking his attorney.
Yeah.
Oh,
Besides the audit,
Just to stay in that, is there a timeline on that then would allow the transfer of that property? The sale of that property to be completed, do you think?
no. I can add that.
Yes, well, otherwise it would be nice to sell that property.
yeah, well, yeah, we got talked originally April, kind of like,
Yeah, you're talking about first quarter here.
so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, besides the audit, we are heavily working right now on the public authorities, for reports that are due for each of our agencies. That's gonna probably take up most of this month and next month to get all that information. So those are the most frustrating parts of this job.
I have one last question with regard to the transition in the town. Brett is now the acting supervisor.
Yes.
Just a quick question on the leads listing, because I feel like, not sure I'm following your color coding system, given that we have things in Canada that clearly are no longer viable or taking place when you're going back to a year ago. And we're still in preliminary discussions, so I don't know if there's a way to be able to draw attention to the new leads that are coming in. I know there is, I've given you numerous suggestions in terms of how to do that, but like this to me is like, now I have to read this every time to understand, is there something new in here, what's going on? And these are all very old leads, if you will, so. Again, this is part of that communication of understanding who is showing this. Tell me if I'm incorrect, our very first one, is that still an actual viable lead?
Yes. Right now.
We hadn't had discussion since February of '24.
Megan has. Average.
As if it's like, giving me notes in your status is not helpful, right? The status should be, are we still open discussion? Like discussions that stalled, like give me something here in the status that gives me an indication that we're still actively working this lead, or the lead is just dead.
Okay.
Because to me, these are all dead, given the dates.
Right.
Yeah, other than Apple converting, but even that goes back to August. So are they really interested or are they not interested?
That was the purchasing as opposed to renting.
Right.
Right.
And is that an additional lot or is that the current lot,
That would
the leased building that they have right now?
Leased.
Yeah, that's what I thought, right. So you get what I'm saying, like when I look at this, we need to understand like what are active leads that we're still
Okay.
kind of honing, or they're just ones we gave information and we haven't heard back anything in 6 months. So from that, I guess my question is, do we have any real active leads here? So you're saying the cannabis manufacturer is still an active lead?
I don't believe I've just had conversations with them recently. Yeah, no, we can update this.
Okay,
I mean, we can certainly take that one.
I'm again trying to get and understand like what is still active. So again, as we start 20, like if these were 24s, if they're closed, then no, just take them off the list, right? Same thing, again, if they're still active, if there still is potential something going on there, certainly feel free to leave it there, but if it's not active, or at least give me some color coding that works, that tells me that these are kind of still sitting there, not closed, but we're not actively working it. Because there's some of this in terms of are we passively just accepting in requests and sending out information versus there's leads that we're trying to actually pursue. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
I will contact all. The only ones that we will not.
I'm not asking you to contact anything. I think the idea is like, are any of these viable, right, and still possible? And then really narrowing in, are there ones that we should actually be outreaching and contacting?
If
If it's dead, it's dead. I'm not
If
looking,
it's black or gone.
yeah,
And the ones that are new, to me, is one color, something new happened last month, so we can, in a short time.
right. So
get a
like
snapshot of what's going on.
the Coney Island Railroad working with Mr. Gronka. I mean, that one to me is like, they'll let us know, but at this point, that to me is dead, right? Yeah, okay. So not looking to put more time on your plate, just so we
take
have
some
clear
stuff off,
communication.
just so it's efficient.
And on ESP projects, like there's one on here, Project Omega, they just don't know what's going on with it.
Yeah, okay.
We submitted our stuff and the state said they submitted it. We haven't responded to the state.
Well, to me, that's like up on the shelf till somebody tells us something.
Yeah, so that's
I
kind
wouldn't
of
spend
cold
any
lead.
time or energy or focus on that, They probably sent it to every county, and they'll
Yeah, it's
decide.
good to let us know when those are coming in, but at some point, take them off or. Okay,
Anything else, Jody?
I think that's it.
Okay, newer and unfinished business. Anything else for the group? And adjourn.
So adjourned. Bye, guys. Have a good day.